So my name is Chanise Gibbs. I am the CEO and founder of Bearskin USA. I am from New York City, the Bronx to be exact. So, I have that hustle in me, but I currently reside in Atlanta. So growing up in the Bronx, I come from a whole nother era. It was very different, the crack era, right? I'm going to school, there's crack bottles on the floor. There are, people in my building that were on drugs. And so it was just very tough just being in that environment. But for me, it just gave me a whole nother outlook and perspective on life. Like I knew I had to get out of here. I knew I needed to make it. I needed to go to college. Whatever was my scapegoat to get out of here, that's what I was focused on. So the anchor for me really was entrepreneurship. I started entrepreneurship at a very early age of 7. I remember designing my own Halloween costume. I've never ever had a store-bought Halloween costume. So I would create it, draw it up, and my aunt would actually physically make it. And from there, it was like, hey, I could do this, but I can now sell this. And so I started off making hair bows. I remember, the little Christmas wrap. And I would take, after we used the wrapping paper, I would take the tubes and actually put hair bows on it. And I would walk to school every single day. And so, growing up in New York City, it doesn't matter. Or just in the North, you're going to school, rain, sleet, hail, snow. It could be 5 feet deep. We're walking to school. And I would take those tubes of hair bows with me and I would sell it to the teachers. And that was really my first real journey of entrepreneurship. And I remember my dad used to actually work around the corner in this candy store. And so I remember it was a penny candy store. So we would go to the candy store and I remember, it was like a hole in the wall, but he had all the candy. And I remember looking up and saying, I want to do this one day. I can sell my own stuff. I could really do it. And I think that was the first time there was a liquor store and it was the penny candy store and they were Black owned. And that was the first time me seeing anyone that looked like me owning and operating their own business in that magnitude. And I know I could do the same thing. So that was that anchor for me to really focus on entrepreneurship. And from there, it just led to so many avenues of business as I got older. Oh, I was the boss. I was the boss, right? I was the boss then, I'm the boss now. I remember having my Barbie dolls lined up. I'm the teacher, I'm the boss, I'm telling them what to do, But with my friends, it was the same thing. I remember, we would create dances in the street and we would perform and I was the boss. I was nope, if you're not doing that right, you gotta go. I'm firing you. No, go a little harder. So I was the boss, but I was also the person that really pushed everybody. You're beautiful. You could do it. Come on, go a little harder. Let's do this. We're gonna win the talent show. And so I think they took to me, I'm gonna say the way people take to me now. Oh, that's Chanise. Or if she says it's gonna work, we're gonna do it. And, they really just believed in me. So even when people see me today that I knew from back in the days, they're like, oh, that's Chanise. That's who she is. That's what she did. So for me to have these multiple businesses and just being a serial entrepreneur today, to some people that's new in my life, it's like, wow. But to others, it's like, that's who she is. This is what she's been doing all her life. In high school, elementary school too, but high school was really the time where I started dibbling, dabbling in hair, right? When you junior high school, you 13, so you experimenting, you getting yourself cute. Mom is not doing your hair no more. And so doing hair became my hustle. I braided hair. I did everyone's hair. Even the older women in my building would come upstairs. I lived on the 6th floor for me to do their hair. So by the time I got to college, I'm looking around at everybody. Everybody's going to the parties, and that's cute. I love to party. But I was like, I need to make money. And so, funny thing, I lived in the building in New York in the Bronx on the 6th floor. By the time I went to Norfolk State University, I was on the 6th floor as well. And I was the 6th floor person that they came to, to get their hair done. And I would have clients, whether they were, students that lived on campus or off campus, or just adults that would come. And I'm in that room braiding, getting busy, braiding hair. And so hair became like my hustle. Like that was the thing. I was making hair bows and designing clothes, but hair actually became my hustle. The box braids, the twists, $100, $100. And I was killing the game. One thing about New York City, the average person had a 9 to 5. It was like you go to work, you graduate high school, you go get this really good job, you make $80,000 to $100,000 a year, and that's what you do. For me, and I'm gonna be very, very honest, for me, the environment that I grew up in, like I said, I needed to be out of there. Not only just the environment, but my household. My household really affected me as a child. I talk about it a lot where I watched my dad abuse my mom. And so being in that household, in that abusive situation, whatever outlet I can get to get the heck away from this environment, that's what I needed to do. I said, we could be sitting there watching TV. I was telling someone earlier today, we could be sitting there watching TV as a family. And my father, I don't know what would come over him, would just get this rage. He would pick up an iron and just throw it at my mom. And so really seeing that blood all over the floor, dragging her all over the place. And my mom was like the sweetest lady ever. It wasn't until, and God rest his soul, but it wasn't until one day he just attacked the cat, like was very, very angry at the cat. For me, I knew like, this is it. I have to go. And it was one day I remember us facing each other and he called himself getting angry with me. And we just sitting there, I'm a teenager. I'm just in and out the house. And we had that moment. And I talk about this a lot because I have so many bare moments in my life. But we had that moment where he said something smart to me. I don't remember what it was. And I looked at him and I said, I'm going to get a pan and I'm going to hit the hell out of him. But I had so much anger in my eyes. All he could do was take my beeper. At that time, I had a beeper. He took the beeper and he threw it. And so I remember calling the cops. And I'm like, oh, I'm pressing charges. He's getting out of here. And my mom, at that moment, the police said, did you want to press charges? And she said, no. And that moment for me was like, you chose him over me, your own daughter, even though that's my biological father. But I was like, for her, I'm like, Mom, this is out. Like, this is your way out. Like, he's hurting you. He's hurting us as a family. And when I graduated, I was out of there. I remember we went to Six Flags, we did the prom and we went to Six Flags. I didn't hesitate. I wasn't looking for a job. I wasn't looking for anything. The furthest away I can go, I wanted to come to Atlanta. That didn't happen. I ended up going to Virginia. 6 hours away was enough for me. And I'm going to be honest, I never went back. So it was hard. It was hard the first day because literally when my mother came to help set everything up, she had to leave. And I just started my new job. I had transferred my job. I worked for a major corporation at that time. And they was like, you can't take off. Not for no funeral, nothing. You're in training. Only thing you could do is start training in about 2 months from now. And I'm like, I have bills. I can't do that. And so I decided we held the funeral off and moved it around to where I was able to at least take one day off, like a Thursday, so we could do everything else, or like a Friday throughout the weekend. And it was hard. I remember not even going into my apartment. I had this amazing 2-bedroom apartment. I would literally sleep in the car until the sun came up. And then I would go back in the house, jump in the shower, and go to work. And that was my daily routine because I don't know, I was afraid. I was afraid. I was alone. I didn't have no family here. It was just fear. But what kept me going is that entrepreneur spirit. And I dig back in because I knew I was going to New York and I was creating my fashion show for Jane Blue Couture, my amazing couture line. And when I brought that to Atlanta, I said, no, Chanise, you can't stop. You can't stop. And Jane Blue Couture, man, had opened so many doors for myself. And then I ended up getting a partner at that time who I met here that I ended up going to high school with in New York City. But it opened up so many doors, from celebrities to award shows to major publications reaching out, to major retail stores reaching out. I remember someone approaching me like, hey, you could either do this store or that store. And I'm just like, oh, wow. Like, you know, we can, yeah, I didn't even know those things were even an option. And then life happened. I ended up getting pregnant, you know, and once I got pregnant, all of that just went downhill because I had to focus on being a mom. So as a woman, women, we are so resilient. Women are powerful. Women are just so amazing in so many ways. We can multitask. We can create things out of nothing. And more importantly, we are nurturing. So we know how to birth, nurture, and let it grow. And so not only we do that in our personal lives with our children and our family, but we do that in business as well. And so I love the fact that I can be a mom, do things with my children, but also run multiple business. And I'm a boy mom, but I teach them what they see. I feel sorry for the women that they deal with because they probably gonna have to come really, really hard because mom is like doing this, doing that. But the whole purpose is to set up generational wealth for them, for the ones that's coming behind them, and leaving a trail of legacy. And so we do that, though, from the moment of giving birth. We do that from the moment we are birthed, you know? And so I love the fact that we're definitely coming into our own, where we're actually getting the recognition for it. You know, back in the days, our grandparents or great-grandparents, they had 13, 14, 15 children. So running a household like that is like running a business. That's like, you got 13 employees. Right? That ain't really you doing stuff for them, right? They're not even really doing much for you. And so that takes a type of tenacity, you know, that takes a type of perseverance, that takes so many different characteristics of yourself. Even in the moments when you want to cry, you have to smile. In the moments when you want to give up, you have to keep going. And so I love the power of a woman. I love the power of what we're doing. And I love the fact that today we can be recognized, like on platforms like yourself, just to show how much we are shining, how much we are bearing, and then where we're going. I'm the CEO and founder of Bearskin USA, an amazing plant-based skincare brand, and I birthed that in the midst of COVID, right? So like a lot of us, we have COVID babies, but that was really special to me because I've had hair salons, I've had clothing lines, you know, I had so many other businesses that I've done and created. But Bearskin USA was just so important because it took me to a trip in Colombia, the country of Colombia. And I visited Cartagena, the city of Cartagena. And it was right before COVID. And I remember going to a town called Palenque. And Palenque is where our melanated people are. And the moment we touched ground, they said, welcome to Africa, Africa. They made us put our arms together. And the gentleman said, no matter where we are in the world, and everybody's was different shades of brown. He said, no matter where we are, remember we are African first. And when we came back to America, COVID had hit. I remember buying some coffee beans, some raw coffee beans from the coffee farm right before we came back. But COVID had hit and the entire world was in despair, right? But I had a bare moment as I stared at myself in the mirror, a reflective moment. I'm a single mom of two. I lost my job, both jobs, all three jobs, because I was just working and trying to survive and trying to provide for my children. When all of those things was taken away, I had nothing. They barely wanted to give me unemployment. And I went in the mirror and I had that reflective moment, which I call a bare moment. And I said, Chanise, what is it that you are going to do? As I'm staring at my reflection, I remember the smiles on those people's faces. They had just got water a few years ago. They had just got electricity a few years ago. And it made me smile because no matter what I was going through or the world was going through at that moment, I knew I would survive. And I dug back to me being a little girl and said, this is the time you need to put on that entrepreneur hat. And I put on my entrepreneurship hat and I had a reflective moment. And that's where I revealed my naked truth. I said, you working all of these jobs. You barely able to pay your bills. Lights are getting cut off. You're getting notices. And you barely making ends meet. And so I said, I'm going to create something. And I'm going to create something not just for the people, because I'm always helping people, but something for me. And so I looked in the mirror and my face was breaking out. My hair, I'm just all over the place. And I had to hone in and say, wait a minute, a light bulb went off. I got those coffee beans. What am I gonna do with those coffee beans? And I got on Google. I was like, what can I do with coffee beans? How can that work for your skin? I said, I need some self-care because I've been neglecting myself this entire time trying to survive. I went on Google, I seen what the benefits of coffee, what it can do for your skin, help with so many things as far as hyperpigmentation. I was like, this is it. This is it. And I went and I made my very first product, the Colombian coffee scrub. And I knew, not that just name it the Colombian coffee scrub because that's where I got the coffee beans from, but I wanted to story tell about the people that were native to the land, the people that I met from Palenque. They got there through freedom by hair braiding. Hair braiding was actually roadmaps that led them to freedom. And I wanted to tell that story. So through that, I created an entire line of products that story tells through skincare by connecting the African diaspora and infusing ingredients from all around the world. And then from there, as I continued to travel around the world, whether it was on YouTube or I was physically going because COVID had hit, so we couldn't really go anywhere, I created my very first black soap cleanser called the Mekong cleanser, which mimics the Mekong River in Asia. And I would story tell about our melanated people there. And so it just went on. So now I have everything from facial care, body care, and beard care. And I infuse ingredients, like I said, from around the world. So our beard care contains chebe powder, which is native of Chad, Africa. So if you ever went to Chad, you see the women and men have very, very long hair because they use chebe to help with growth and stimulate the follicles within their skin. And so that is infused, and it talks about the people that are native to Chad, Africa. I have an amazing summer pina colada collection, which I talk about our melanated people that are native of Puerto Rico. And so I also created curated experiences. So we had the opportunity to visit Loíza, Puerto Rico, and we had the chance to experience the food, the music, the art, the culture, and really learn where pina colada actually derived from. And I created a whole collection around that. So that's the beautiful thing. Not only the products are amazing, they work, you get great results, but they tell a story about our people. So you're learning, you're getting educated, and they're vegan, you know? So we're not using any sulfates, any parabens, or anything that's going to harm you. And so that is where Bare Skin USA was born. I come across so many people day to day, especially like when we're doing expos and pop-up shops, And it's the passion. I hear it all the time. I don't know what you're selling. I don't know what it feels like. I don't know if it's going to work, but your passion behind it is what sells it. And it's authentic. It's authentic. And it takes things to a whole nother level. It separates myself and my brand from so many other brands because it's the passion that's behind it. Bearskin USA has expanded. Oh my gosh, our first major trade show, 5 companies wanted to buy us out for over $1 million. We did not sell. But there's so much more, not just for Bearskin USA, but for Chanise as a whole, right? I'm operating Bearskin USA. We just partnered with a major company that's gonna really take things to the next level. I have built a team of at least 10 right now. So it went from little old me to a team of 10, and I can't wait till we continue to expand. So now we have so many others just operating in so many different areas. I now have time to do some of the other things that I was doing prior to, but it all ties in. So I just jumped into the real estate game. Well, I bought my first house at the age of 27. So I've been jumped into the real estate game, but I was living in it, not really profiting off of it. So now I have jumped into the Airbnb arena. I built my first tiny home, so I'm super excited about that and how it ties in with Bearskin USA. I actually put the products. So the Bearskin USA products will be in your bathrooms, your soaps, your hand soaps. I'm even looking to expanding into like dishwashing and laundry detergent and like all natural products. So wherever you see a brand of Chanise's, trust me, Bearskin USA will be in there some way. I also just launched my podcast. So funny thing, this is nothing new to me. Me and my sister as a little girl, my mom would be like, go to bed, go to bed. At night, I would take the little radio and the tape recorder, right? Remember that? Yeah. Press play and record at the same time. I said, we're gonna start our own show. It's gonna be called Hey Sister. So I'd be like, my mom be like, go to bed. I'd be like, 1, 2, 3. We say, hey sister. And we had our own little radio show. From there, I built Let's Talk Women's Empowerment TV show. And today I'm able to kind of come back to a full circle moment, and I created a Dose of Beauty podcast. And so I'm able to talk about the life, the love, the struggle of just life as a whole, you know, being an entrepreneur, being a person. And so I really get a chance to dive deep into that. So from Bearskin USA, a beauty brand, to real estate, to my Dose of Beauty podcast, like I am just infusing the brand and connecting things in so many ways to the trips and the curated experiences. What I'm doing is what I love, and that's the philanthropy side of things. I'm able to help others. I'm able to go into other countries and help others. I'm able to do it right here in my own backyard and help others and people that look like me. So that is what's next. It's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to build. I'm a partner of a company called VIP Socio, which is an amazing platform where entrepreneurs can actually put their products online for free and sell and scale their businesses. So it is taking me into a realm of not just leadership, but where I can actually continue to pour and help others. At the same time, it's offering balance for myself. I'm learning, I'm growing, and sky is beyond the limit. So guys, once again, my name is Chanise Gibbs. I am the CEO of Bearskin USA, an amazing plant-based brand. You can make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Bearskin USA, and that is B-A-R-E Skin USA. So I definitely want to give a shout out to Deepino.com for allowing me to grace this platform, for being the first woman to share my story, my trials, my triumphs, and just being a positive influence for all of those out there. So thank you and shout out to you.